In this week's Torah portion, we learn the importance of taking a break. Shalom, friends. This is Akiva Gersh with Israel in 5, where we give you everything Israel in 5 minutes. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions or want to keep the conversation going, please do so in the comments below. So in this week's Torah portion, we're getting close to the end of the book of Exodus, Vayakhel it's called, which means bringing together. Right away, we learn about the mitzvah, the commandment of keeping Shabbat. Right, 6 days during the week you do your work, and on the seventh day you rest. Now, this has become a universally known idea. This idea of a weekend, of a work week and a weekend. Now, in the ancient world, they didn't have such a thing, right? The Jewish tradition really brought this idea into the world of taking a break, right? Of having a day to rest. Now, the Egyptians, when the Jews were slaves in Egypt, the Jews, even though it was before the giving of the Torah, they were already given the mitzvah, the commandment, the practice, the tradition of keeping Shabbat. And the Egyptians didn't understand this. They didn't know what to do with it. And it was a very foreign concept to them because in the ancient world, it was a foreign concept to all people. And the Jews understood through their tradition, through the Hebrew Bible, through the commandment from God, that it's important to work and to do and to, try to impact and to build and create and affect the world in hopefully positive ways in all the ways that we do it. But then it's also important to take a break, to have a pause, to have a day to rest. And in that day of rest, there's so many important things that are happening. There's physical rest, of course, going to sleep earlier, hopefully, right? Waking up maybe a little bit later, maybe even taking a nap during the day, but at the very least, not being as active as you are during the week, not running here, running there, doing all the different things. Back in the day, it was being out in the fields for hours and hours. Today, it's rushing from errand to errand, or being on the phone all the time, or on a computer, or whatever it might be. And I just want to say right here now, while the Jewish tradition has all these laws specifically for Jews, the idea of Shabbat is something that can be universally applied to people from all different backgrounds, religions, and traditions. This idea of having a different kind of a day once a week. Right, so physical rest is so important to give our bodies, our beings, a break, especially from all the technology that we are bombarded by and surrounded by in our lives. I remember seeing a video not too long ago by someone who's not Jewish, right? And he wasn't talking about Shabbat, but he was talking about the impacts on our brains on a neurological level of being on the phone so much in front of screens. And he said the healthiest thing we can do is put our phone down one day a week for 24 hours and don't touch it. Right? Again, not a Jew, not talking about anything Jewish, not talking about the word Shabbat, but he said it's so important. He said this is something that he does, and he knows that break is of crucial importance to our physical and mental and emotional health and well-being. Right, so we have the physical aspect of it. There's also the community aspect, right? Seeing people, talking to people face to face, not through screens, not through phones, not through anything else. Face to face, sitting with people, having meals together, taking walks, right? That community building, that family building is so important. And of course, on Shabbat, there's the spiritual aspect, right? To have a day during the week, maybe like people are too busy to, go deep into prayer or to any other spiritual practice that they might have, right? On Shabbat, it gives us that extra time to invest more, whether it be prayer or meditation or just simply a walk out in the beauty of nature. Right? These are good for our soul. And we know that we're body and we're soul, and Shabbat recognizes that and gives us the physical rest and allows us space and time for more of that spiritual connection. So these are just all great and healthy things that we're learning about in this week's Torah portion, right from the beginning. That we should have a work week, work, go, do all your stuff, and then pause, right? And then work, and then pause. And how important that is, especially in our modern day world. I want to share one more quick thought. So something beautiful throughout the Torah when it talks about the building of the Mishkan, the sanctuary, the traveling temple that they had in the desert, and eventually brought into the land of Israel, the Israelites. And it says those who built it were people who were chacham lev, right? They were wise of heart. Now it's interesting because usually when we think about wise people, we think about kind of very brainy things, academic things, sciences and math, right? Literature and the like. And then lev is like the heart. That's like, the more artistic, creative music, art, poetry, things like that. But to build the Mishkan, to build the sanctuary, they needed both. They need to be chacham lev. They need to be wise of heart. And realize that those artisan kind of skills are coming from a deep place of wisdom, and they're needed, right? In order to build this holy space that is going to be a dwelling place for God in this world, right? And to recognize that the depths of these creative arts is really, really deep wisdom. And that when we connect that deep wisdom with that creativity, we really create something and make the space for something very, very special, very, very unique, and very, very holy. And that was the kind of approach, and that's the kind of thing that those who made the pieces and the parts that went into the creation, the building of the Mishkan, the sanctuary, they needed to have that, because it couldn't just be the brain and it couldn't just be the heart. It had to be both of them together, both of those unified, right? The brainy kind of stuff, the technical kind of sciencey kind of stuff, and also the open-hearted, creative, um, you know, uh, artistic kind of things as well. And both of those went into the creation of the sanctuary, which shouldn't be surprising because the whole sanctuary itself was really about bringing the physical and the spiritual together, right, in one place, so everything could be experienced there, and all of our beings could be a part of experiencing all the facets of God and God's creation.